Herman Morris from Alpha One Tactical here. We're continuing with our Firearms 101 series on ammo. Now, last episode we introduced external ballistics. In this episode, we'll review terminal ballistics. Now that we understand that the mass, shape, and velocity of the projectile will determine how it flies through the air, we need to understand how it behaves once it impacts the target. As I mentioned in the last episode, there is some overlap in this regard as it pertains to the shape of a bullet and the way that it's constructed. Now, modern ammunition has made leaps and bounds in design, manufacturing, and the materials used, etc., especially when it comes to very specialized cartridges. So I'm only going to go over the most common types of bullets that you're most likely to encounter. Now, the most common bullet types are full metal jacket, hollow point, open tip, and soft point. There are several other types of different types and some specialty rounds designed completely differently. But remember, in this series, we're covering the rule, not the exception. Now, a full metal jacket is one that has a core, usually made of lead, that is completely enclosed by a metal, usually copper. This design is very simple and cheap to make, and it allows the bullet to retain its shape when it impacts a target. Because of these characteristics, full metal jacket bullets tend to be used mainly for plinking, target practice, training, and competition. If you're only looking for a round that will reach its target and either go right through it, such as a paper target, or simply hit it and come apart, then you don't really need much more than that. All right? However, if you need a cartridge that has better terminal ballistics when your target is organic, in other words, for hunting or personal defense, then a full metal jacket bullet is usually not optimal since they tend to just go right through, which might cause internal bleeding or some other more serious damage, but it rarely incapacitates the target immediately. The goal in this case is for the bullet to be able to penetrate through sometimes a lot of layers of clothing or a thick hide and dump all of its energy inside of the body of the target in order to cause as much immediate damage as possible to the internal organs. And the most common design for this type of performance is the hollow point. These are most commonly used in pistols for the purpose of personal defense. And they're constructed in such a way that the bullet expands when it impacts tissue, thus creating more damage as they expend all of their energy inside of the target. Now, while rifle ammo is equally as common in full metal jackets are as pistols, they are rarely available as hollow points. The reason is that the poor aerodynamics of a hollow point negate the what are supposed to be the advantages of a rifle, namely range and accuracy. And traditionally, the type of bullet that has been used in rifles for hunting or personal defense purposes have been soft points. Soft points look a lot like a full metal jacket, except that the tips are not covered in copper or any type of metal. And this allows for the bullet to remain aerodynamic during flight while deforming significantly upon contact with an organic target, which has a similar effect as a hollow point. There are newer cartridges that have all different types of ballistic tips that build on the concept of the soft point. Now, there are several pistol cartridges that are also available as soft points that are used for hunting purposes, but since the development of the hollow points, they're rarely used for personal defense or law enforcement anymore. Now, there's another type of rifle bullet that has become very common in the last decades, open tip or open tip match. A very common misconception is that open tip rifle ammo is the equivalent of hollow point because it looks similar, but that's not the case. Open tip bullets actually have better ballistic coefficients than full metal jackets and are more stable in flight. The open tip does provide better terminal ballistics than a full metal jacket, but that's almost by mere chance. Open tip match ammo was created mainly for long range precision purposes, but also turned out to have decent terminal ballistics. So they've been adopted for a wide range of uses ranging from military and law enforcement, competition, hunting, and personal defense. This design, especially if it's made to match specifications, can be very pricey, but it keeps gaining popularity due to its performance. Now, on the next episode of Firearms 101, we'll go over how to read a ballistics table so that you can put all of this in context and get a better idea of how a cartridge performs, even if you've never used it. See you then.